How can you get attention for your idea or service when no one else is listening? Get the inside scoop on today's Innovator interview with Basma Hameed. Welcome to Lipstick Unplugged. I'm your host, Dee Patience. This is the no-gloss business branding show that gives women the confidence, mentoring, and resources that they need to change their lives in the world through entrepreneurship. So today I have Basma Hameed from Basma Hameed Clinic. And Basma, I wanted to bring on the show because I heard her story on Successful Women Talk. I thought it was a great story, and it illustrates why you should tell your story to get your idea out to the world. And it also helps you start with why, which is something important that when you have a solution that you can talk about it in a way that other people get the big deal behind it and the reason behind it and why you're so passionate about helping someone with your solution. So Basma talked to us about what it was like when she was growing up because she was disfigured and scarred, and she created a solution that later helped other women and other children. She also talked about how she gained traction for her idea when no one else would give her a chance, and then how she convinced the world that it actually worked. This one is a really special interview. It's something that I'm really proud of, and I think you're going to love it. So I will see you on the inside. All right, so today we have on our show, I'm really excited about her, Basma Hameed, and she's the founder of Basma Hameed Clinic. And I first learned about her on my friend Shelia Butler's show, Successful Women Talk. And Basma, the reason I wanted you on the show, that I had to have you on the show, is because of your story. I loved not only what you're doing, but how you took a childhood tragedy and you turned it into something that you use to help other people, that you use to help yourself. And I'm finding more and more that women need to take our stories and take some of these things from our past and turn them around and make them beautiful. And I wanted my audience, I wanted the world to hear your story and how you craft it and how you talk about it and how you made a unique solution out of it. So welcome to the show.
Hi, Dee. Good morning. Thank you for having me. I truly believe, when I was in a cooking accident when I was 2 years old, and hot oil spilled down on 40% of my face. So I spent a good period of time, almost I would say 16 years of having non-stop plastic surgery. So it got to the point where, I would do the surgery, but I wouldn't see a change. And I remember when I was 16 years old, I approached one of the plastic surgeons and I said, okay, so what can we do next? And he was like, just take your money and go on a vacation because there's nothing else that we can do, right? So when I heard that, I was really like a little bit disappointed and a little bit hurt. And that's the truth, because you always want to have hope. And I truly believe that a plastic surgeon would save my life, that things will get better. But when I heard that, I didn't want to just kind of give up and say, that's it. I'm just going to live with it. And at that time, what I was living with, I only had one eyebrow. On my left side where the burn was, I had 3 hair transplants and none of them were successful, right? So and of course the burn itself was really discolored and it was really red, and so that's why I thought this can't be it, there has to be something else that can be done. So I didn't want that to discourage me, what the plastic surgeon had said. So from that point, I went home and I did my homework and I did a lot of research to see what would be the next step. What can I do for myself to improve the discoloration and kind of, build my confidence. And so I came across permanent makeup, and that's when I thought, why not? Let me start doing my eyebrows. And even with that, I still went and had a consultation with my plastic surgeon to see his opinion on it. And he's like, it's the worst thing you can do for yourself. Don't ever do it. Right? And I was just asking at that time, I was just asking about permanent eyebrows. So, so then I decided myself that I'm gonna continue with the procedure. Go ahead and get my eyebrows tattooed. So when I did my eyebrows, I saw the big improvement, and it was more successful. In 1 hour, I had an eyebrow where I couldn't achieve 3 months of plastic surgery, of hair transplant on my eyebrow. That we couldn't do that. So the result was really fast, and you can notice it immediately, right? So once I did that, I started thinking about doing the same procedure with similar procedure, but tattooing the brand itself, right? And again, at that time, nobody would take on that risk, because every tattoo artist was scared to work on not just scar tissue, but your face, right? Because they were scared that if something went wrong, then they would be in a lot of trouble. But for me, I just thought, I had nothing to lose. I've gone through so many surgeries, and at 16 years old, I didn't want to be, told that this was it and you have to give up. So I learned the tattooing, how to tattoo and everything about that, and I started working on my own face. So I thought if I was gonna start, might as well I would work on my own face. So so from that moment, I did the first session and noticed a little bit of a difference, and I gave it a month and I did another session. So slowly, every month I started noticing a difference, an improvement, and within about, I would say, a year and a half to 2 years, all the discoloration was gone.
Wow.
Right? So it improved so much, to the point where I didn't care. I wasn't so insecure. I wasn't worried I can go outside without worrying, oh, my makeup is gonna wipe off or my eyebrow is gonna wipe off, and it gives you a lot of confidence that and hope too. So when I had done that, and the procedure itself was really successful, that's when I knocked on every plastic surgeon's door and I said, listen, this is my story, this is what I've done, and this is the result. So there's no denial. This is real,
right.
right in front of you. So so it took a little while for all plastic surgeons to get on board and say, you know what, you're right. And so from there, I was working on burn scars, and then from that, I started working to all kinds of scars and birthmarks and people with vitiligo and alopecia. So it just started to improve. Each time I would work on a birthmark, it would get better and better, right? Not just the procedure, the actual work itself. So it's grown a lot, and it's very successful, and I'm very, very happy to kind of give somebody the hope, kind of not to give up. I believe, I know after doing this, I get a lot of people that come into my clinic, or a lot of people that email me and say they're going through the same thing and they want the procedure. So it's given a lot of people hope. So after doing that, I know I'm not alone, and even aside from the procedure itself, is just to give people hope that no matter what you go through, it shouldn't stop you from anything. You should just be really positive, and you can't let anybody just put you down. I think we all go through our own ups and downs, and we go through a lot of experiences in life where things get tough, but you just have to kind of toughen up and go out the door, and you face the world.
So tell me this. Tell me what it was like then. You've growing up. First, I want to kind of cover your story when you're growing up. You're 16. You're going through. We've already been through so much already, And you have, and I don't know if people really understand, but I wanted you to describe the scars and what it was like and going out of the house so they get it. And then I have some follow-up questions from there. So tell us what that was like.
I mean, the toughest years are I would say, I can't even just say teenage years. It's the entire time, you know, because every time you go outside, people stare. And it's not a bad thing because I think, you know, the media doesn't put these images out, you know. Unfortunately, we live in a society where, you know, there's a certain image for beauty. That's what the media keeps putting out. So it's really hard for people to kind of, you know, when you see something that you haven't seen before, of course it's going to be shocking, right? So a lot of people, I would get stares from kids and adults. So it wasn't just, you know, little kids. And every time I would go outside, people would say, "Oh, what's wrong with your face? What happened to your face?" And then, of course, you go through years of denial. You say, "Well, there's nothing wrong with my face. What are you talking about?" Right? But then, you know, with growth, you start to understand that, I mean, these people don't know, right? And you have to educate everybody. So if they don't know, it's not a bad thing. You just have to tell them. So it was an accident, and so definitely it was really hard. And every time you would build your confidence and you go outside and then somebody would say something and it's like, "Oh, are you serious?" So it's like it takes you back, right? So it was really tough, and also like it makes it really hard for you even to look at somebody straight in the eyes, you know.
Oh.
Makes it so difficult. Like you always walk with your head down and you try to cover it as much as possible and you don't want to talk about it, you know. So it definitely affects your life. I think whether you're a kid or an adult, it definitely affects your life. So I had a lot of hope and belief that, you know, the doctors can do something about it. So every time I went inside a surgery and I would come out with gauze, you know, all over my face, I would dream about, you know, once you remove the gauze, everything would be back to normal. You know, like that was literally like in my head. Every time I would go inside a surgery, I would say, once I come out, everything is gonna be back to normal. But it's definitely a process, and I think it's important to share the story to I know I'm not alone, and a lot of people can actually, you know, relate and kind of, you know, get a little bit of strength from me that by even hearing my story, you know, it can change maybe somebody's life, hopefully.
Absolutely. You know, and one of the things that I liked is that, and I think it's because you tell your story a lot. A lot of us, we have, like I've been bringing on guests on the show, and I've been amazed at how they've been opening up and talking about how they've been, you know, have handled depression. You know, my mom passing away. I'm ready to talk about that. I'm finding that the more you talk about your story, people really connect with that and they understand that and they get it of why you're doing what you're doing. And it's the starting with why. A lot of times you start with why because you have this thing inside you that you're really trying to help other people with. And as you talk about your story, that sort of comes out and they get to see that. So I wanted to know, you're talking to these doctors. At first they were saying, absolutely not, this is horrible, don't try it on your face. At some point, people start to say, okay, well, let's give this a shot. So tell us what those conversations were like when you had to convince someone to let you do this for their patients, right?
Right. Well, the thing is now the story is out there, and a lot of people have heard about paramedical tattooing or paramedical micropigmentation. Usually, I mean, every client that walks into my clinic, they always say that they've already tried everything. So from laser to plastic surgery to makeup, nothing has really worked, right? So they've reached that point where they really want the treatment. So it's not so much convincing for the client. The plastic surgeons, it was a little bit difficult in the beginning, but my work proved, I mean, it speaks for itself. So if I have somebody that comes in here with a port wine stain, and we get rid of it within a couple of sessions, and then that client goes back to their plastic surgeon, they see the result. So like, again, it's not something that they can avoid or kind of block out. It's right there. So they've seen a lot of my clients, and the stories have all been successful.
But see, that's, you're talking about now. So I'm the woman and you're that first person. We all need that first person, that first client, someone to give us a chance. And you tested it on yourself, which is what a lot of us kind of have, that initial proof. But what about that first chance that you got? Tell us about that.
First chance with the client or the plastic surgeon?
Well, just maybe talk about that plastic surgeon. You had to convince someone of something at some point, right? And it was difficult. So talk to us about that.
Well, yes, convincing the medical community was not an easy job. It's very, very difficult. The thing is, I mean, it's like a union, right? So that it's very hard to get in. It's like this popular group in high school. It's very, very difficult to kind of push yourself in and say, this is what I have. I want to talk to you. So a lot of them in the beginning, they didn't want to hear it, and but I wouldn't give up. I never wanted to give up, like, on myself or giving this procedure an opportunity, to see the light. So I kept going back with more and more stories, more pictures, and my clients they were so happy with the results. So they didn't mind going out there and going back to their surgeon and saying, you know what, this is what we've done, and look at the result. So and what the thing is, a lot of plastic surgeons believe replacing one scar with another scar, right? Which doesn't make any sense, right? So if somebody goes in, let's say for a tummy tuck, right? And they end up with a scar that's about 2 inches wide and about, like, let's say 15 inches, right? So they would go to the plastic surgeon and say, I'm not happy with the scar. And then they'd say, well, you know what? We can minimize it by, taking you under the knife again and trying to make that scar a little bit thinner, right? So it doesn't make any sense. The whole point, you're already left with one scar, and then you have to go back and replace it with another scar. So this is where, I mean, my work comes in. Whether it's after plastic surgery or cosmetic surgery, it's a much easier process, and you see results a lot faster.
And so you basically had a much better solution that kind of fit between kind of the problems of what the surgeons were coming across. They create another scar. And I think that even though, of course, a lot of us aren't in the cosmetic industry, we're not doing that, what I'm learning from you is that, look, you have a solution, and there's kind of this misinformation out there from experts. Their experts are misinformed. You have a solution that bridges the gap between what the customer really needs and what the experts are saying. And you started just going out and getting your clients to go back to these experts and say, look at my results.
Right. That's exactly it. It's like same thing. When I went to one plastic surgeon before I started working on my own face, he told me, he's like, okay, well, we can, because I've had skin grafts, right? And he said, well, we can replace it with another skin graft, right? So it's like you're repeating. It's like same thing with the hair transplant from my eyebrow. The first one wasn't successful. The second one wasn't successful. You'd think by, the third shot, they'd say, you know what? Listen, it's not going to work. Let's try something else. But, I mean, it's really, really difficult. And that's why people, thank God for the internet, and a lot of people, can now get out and do their homework and do research to find other options.
So how did you get the word out? Did you interview? You mentioned that, for instance, after a while now, when the clients, they come to you because they heard of you and they're coming because they see the results. You use the internet. Do you use social media? Or how did you start getting your story out there?
I think it started with just one of my clients shared it with somebody in the media, in the news, right? And they loved the story. It was such a strong, it inspires people and it motivates people. So they really wanted to get the story out there. And then once that news station covered it, every other station just wanted to cover it and share it and put it out there as much as possible. So that was really, really helpful because I was able to reach out a lot more people, not just in Canada. We're talking about North America and Europe too. So that was really good and very, very helpful.
And I think I experienced the same thing. What I found with the media, and this has been said a bunch, it's once you craft a unique story, whatever your story is, whatever your product is, if you kind of craft a unique angle and get it to the press, then other press will start covering it. And in that case, it was a client who took that initiative. But whether we have the clients do it with us or not, we can craft a unique story that has an angle on it that's not covered. And then once you get it in one place, then it's really easy to start getting it in the other places.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's it just, I don't know. It's very, very helpful.
And so, in kind of winding the interview up here, I want to make sure I kind of talk about your business growth, because you started. You started, I know that you have a lot of clinic clients, you grew, you started hiring. So talk to us then about kind of that challenge of all of a sudden now you have a business. And I don't know if you kind of planned it. I mean, you obviously didn't plan it that way. You found a solution for yourself. You created a solution for other people, but now all of a sudden you have to run a business. So talk to us about what that's like.
Well, the business has been running for 10 years, but of course, when you first start, it was a little bit smaller, right? But it's definitely I mean, the thing is, when news covers your story, you get a lot more calls and you get a lot more, inquiries regarding the procedure. So it can become a little bit overwhelming, but you just have to keep, going and try to to work on as many people as possible. I think that the only what's happening right now is because I'm one person who's doing the procedure. So I'm working on right now to start training, because start to train a couple of people where they can go out to South America and to the United States and all around across Canada to kind of, offer this procedure. So it becomes more convenient for people all over. They can actually get the procedure where they don't have to just wait for me. So that's my focus right now. This is where the business is going. So it's definitely, there's so much more to do, but I believe like this is just the start. So I think the industry is definitely, whether it's the cosmetic or the medical, they're both lacking this kind of procedure. Even with the cosmetic industry, I mean, growing up, I've tried every makeup and nothing has ever worked. So right now I'm working also on a makeup line. That's something that everybody can wear, whether you have a scar or don't have a scar. It feels so amazing on your skin. So it's just, there's so much, growth, but I'm gonna take it, one step at a time, and we'll see. Like, sky's the limit.
Well, see, that's amazing, and that surprised me. I didn't know you were working on a makeup line, but that makes sense. So then tell me, what are some of the challenges then, either with your makeup line or maybe when you were first starting? Because in this season, we're talking about fear, change, and starting points. And a lot of times there's, of course, the initial start, but then there's also maybe when you have a product or you're going in a bigger direction. So talk to us about maybe something that you wish someone would have told you that might have made your life easier with one of those two changes?
Um, if if somebody had told me that it's not gonna be easy, the beginning is never easy. You really, really have to get out there and really hustle for it. You have to knock on every door. You have to get as many people to believe in you as possible, because it can be really difficult for a beginner. So I just thought, you just open up a little shop and you'll be fine, you'll survive. But no, you really have to get out there and see what the industry is lacking. And I think me growing up, I've searched for everything, and not just North America, I think Europe and the Middle East, and I've tried everything and nothing really worked, right? Like no product really worked on the market. And but again, I mean, obviously I grew up with a scar, but I'm not alone. So that's something that the industry is definitely lacking. And I get people from Dubai who have vitiligo all over the body, and in Africa too. And they want to get this procedure, but of course it's a little bit more difficult for them coming all the way here. So I think that's where I came up with coming up with a product that's gonna be really useful and that actually works. So not just anything that you just put out on the market and that's it. You sell it. No, actually something that really gonna work. My motivation is always to reach out to as many people as possible and help out as many people as possible.
Good. And so, one of the things that I normally do, which I think you already told us, is I end these by talking about your bold goal and what you're challenging yourself with and in the new year. I think you might have said it, and if not, then we can cover that. But I also wanted to cover what your life is like now. You mentioned a boyfriend. We talked about kind of what it was like, but I also do want to cover that kind of glossy, what's your life like now?
It's busy. It's really busy. I try, of course, family comes first, and I try to do as many clients as possible. I think I'm giving a very grateful opportunity, and everything always happens for a reason. I don't have any regrets. Everybody always says, if you have another chance, would you pick that life to have gone through all your surgeries and the accident? I wouldn't change not one thing, because I wouldn't be where I am right now, and it's giving me so much strength. And every single day I push myself to kind of be much better than yesterday. How can I improve myself, and how can I, my idea in the beginning was, start off something small here in Toronto, Canada, and help people around this area. But now it's grown so much where I want to reach out to the other side of the world. And again, because I'm one person, so there's nothing better than having the perfect product to kind of give people hope. It says that, if you can't come here, and if I can't make it there, there's something that can be useful, and it can help, cover your scar and your birthmarks and your vitiligo. So
that's awesome. And so I know that we're going to help you spread the word and help more people. You keep saying hope, and that's something that I think you're giving a lot of people. So tell us where we can find you, where we can follow you, and if you have any events or anything else that you want to mention.
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at Basma Hameed, and Facebook is Basma Hameed Clinic. And my website is www.basmahameed.com, and there is the email address on there. So that's how everybody can reach me. And right now we have a lot of big plans, and I'm working on opening up my second clinic in Chicago, in the Windy City. So I'll be more, hopefully in the next couple of months, I'll have a base in the States, and that way I can reach out to the American clients as well.
All right. Well, this was a great interview. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're going to do great things, and we're definitely going to be watching.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dee.
All right. That's it for today's Innovator interview. I hope you enjoyed the show. For more inspiring mentor interviews, the show notes, and your Rebel Action worksheet, visit lipstickunplug.com.